everyone. This is the second session on Module 8 shear walls of building structure 6. In our last session we have studied about introduction to shear walls, its materials used, what are the applications of shear walls, advantages and disadvantages of shear walls. So today we are going to continue with the study of shear walls with the design and construction aspects of a shear wall, failure modes of shear wall and types of shear wall. So let us start with a design and a construction aspects regarding a shear walls. So for understanding this, I am going to consider a concrete or a RCC shear wall type as an example. So we all know that width of the wall for a normal any normal wall, width of the wall will be somewhere around 230 mm or at least 200 mm. Partition walls will be of 150 mm. So similarly for shear wall also, thickness of the wall or the thickness of the shear wall section, we usually keep it as 150 mm. We can also keep the thickness lesser than 150 also, but most of the time we prefer it at least 150 so that excessive deflections are restricted or the deflection failure is avoided, so as to avoid the deflection failures. So for high rise building structures we prefer a thickness of shear wall, that is this thickness of the wall somewhere between 150 mm to 400 mm, and reinforcement is always provided at the center of the shear wall like this, and reinforcement is provided along both the axis or along entire plane of the wall. If a wall is having axis as x axis and y axis, wall is in xy plane, so I am going to provide a reinforcement along x direction also as well as reinforcement along y direction also, and these reinforcements are equally spaced in between, and at the edge or at the end of the walls a bunch of reinforcements are provided. Now as per the thickness of the wall, a number of the layers of a reinforcement differs. So if a wall is very thick or thickness is more, then we may also provide a reinforcement in 2 layers, and if wall is very thin we can provide a reinforcement in a single layer mat type. So if it is a 2 layers reinforcement, it will be something like this. Then as per the minimum amount of area of reinforcement is concerned, we take it as 0.0025 times the gross area in each direction. So if a wall is of 230 thickness of 150, width of length of 4 meter and a height of 3.5 meter, we calculate the gross area of that particular wall and we provide a reinforcement at least 0.0025 times of gross area. Then as per the distance of or the maximum spacing of a reinforcement is concerned, the spacing between any 2 bars should be lesser than length of the wall divided by 5 or 3 times the thickness of the wall or 450 mm. Out of these 3 values, whichever is the least is considered as maximum spacing for a reinforcement, and we should never exceed that maximum spacing for a reinforcement. Then the diameter of a bar should not exceed 1/10 of the thickness of the wall. So if wall is of 150 mm thick, we never exceed 15 mm diameter. So we restrict our diameter of a bar for such a reinforcement as a 12 mm bars. So if thickness is around 200 mm, wall thickness is around 200 mm, then we can provide up to 16 mm, up to 18 mm as well as 20 bars also. So this is how we provide a reinforcement in a RCC shear walls. Let us start with a study on failures or forces on a shear walls and a corresponding failure modes. So in shear walls there are mainly two types of forces. One is in plane shear forces and another is flexural forces. So based on these two types there are three modes of failure, and apart from these three modes a building may also collapse because of a buckling of a shear wall. So first one is flexural failure. So whenever a lateral force is applied on a building, if the foundation is very intact and the entire building is very stiff, or entire building is acting as a one single unit, then what happens is when a load is applied, this building will bend exactly like a cantilever beam. So this shear wall, when a load is applied, the shear wall is going to bend like a cantilever beam. So when this bending occurs, there will be a compression on the inner side and a tension on the outer side. So this type of a failure, because of these, when these compressive stresses or a tensile stresses increases, there will be a cracks occurring in the shear wall, which will be exactly like a flexure in a beam when a beam is applied with a tensile load. So similar kind of a failure occurs in shear walls. Second type is this is a flexural failure. Then second type is a shear failure. Here in shear failure there are two types of shear forces which are occurring in a shear walls. One is horizontal shear forces and another is vertical shear forces. Suppose if the individual floors or individual elements of shear or parts of a shear walls are not interconnected properly, there are going to be a critical sections which may fail when a horizontal force exceeds its shear wall capacity. So if such stresses are going to occur, then shear wall fails horizontally because of horizontal shear forces. Another type is vertical shear failure mode. In this mode, shear forces will occur along the vertical axis of the building, and wall will fail as a vertical segments. Then apart from these three types of modes, there might be a failure of a shear wall because of buckling failure. Buckling failure is nothing but just like a column. Shear wall may also deflect excessively in a lateral direction because of a compressive force applied as a gravity load and a foundation reaction. A shear wall will buckle along a lateral direction like this, and failure occurs. So these are the four different types of failures of shear walls. Now let us study about types of shear walls. So we have four different types of shear walls. The very first one is planar shear wall or a single shear walls. So single shear walls are nothing but numerous number of shear walls are distributed in a plan of a building. Each individual shear wall carries a lateral load individually. That is, one shear wall does not affect the behavior on the other shear wall. They all carry lateral loads individually. So this is a importance about planar shear walls. So here, well distribution of shear walls, where the shear walls is to be provided and how the shear wall is to be provided are important. Most of the time, make sure that shear walls are provided in a symmetrical manner. So if I am providing a shear wall on this face, then I should provide a shear wall on the opposite face, like here. So if I provide shear wall on one side and opposite side is not provided with a shear wall, then this side will have excessive stiffness, whereas this side will have a least stiffness. Because of this there will be a torsion occurring along the twisting occurring about the stiffer sections. So provide a shear walls in a equally distributed or a symmetrical distribution. Then such type of shear walls usually act as a vertical cantilever beam where they may fail by deflection. So these are similar to deep beams which are in cantilever behavior. Then these are consisting of linked wall system. These may also be consisting of a linked wall systems around a staircase or elevator or any service shafts. So what they do is, if there is any lift or a staircase, they construct an individual shear wall along all four sides of a shaft, which all together act as a core of a shear wall. Then these system walls that are connected by a floor slab or a beams with a negligible bending resistance, so that only horizontal interactive forces are transmitted. So here what happens is, if this is a shear wall, all the floors, slabs or roofs are connected together with the shear walls. All floors are interconnected by a shear walls. So because of this, excessive bending are reduced and only horizontal interactive forces are transmitted. Second type is shear wall with a flat slab system. We all know that flat slabs are very preferred type of a floor slabs as per its functional aspects are concerned, as well as the constructional advantages are concerned. But only disadvantage about the flat slab is that these are very poor when it comes to lateral loading, lateral load resisting aspect. So to overcome this, what we can do is, we can combine a flat slab system with a shear wall system. So flat slab will be advantageous in functional as well as construction, whereas shear wall will carry the lateral loads which are applied on the flat slabs. So in this case, important aspect about this type of a system is that where a shear wall is to be provided, so that the shear walls, the tensile stresses which are induced in a shear wall because of lateral loading are counteracted by a gravity loads which are carried by a flat slab. So based on the load direction as well as how the building geometry is, we provide a shear wall on the appropriate positions. Third one is a coupled shear wall type. In coupled shear wall type, it consists of two or more shear walls which are in same plane or almost same in a single plane. These are connected at the floor levels by a beams or a shift slabs. This results in a drastic increase in stiffness and efficiency of the wall system. For example, consider this building. So here there are two shear walls. You can see the plan and a elevation. So if this is a building, what I am going to do is, I will construct a shear wall which is a channel section on left side as well as a channel section on the right side, both facing face to face. Both channels are face to face, and in between these channels I am providing a connecting beam. So you can see these are the connecting beams. These are the connecting beams. So this is one type of a shear wall. Or in this example, you can see this is a plan where one shear wall is connected here with the other shear wall, and again one more connecting beam is here with the shear wall. So you can see the connecting beams here. When you look from the elevation, say for another example is this type. when you look from this side, you can see this is one shear wall and this is another shear wall, and I am connecting these two shear walls by a connecting beams. So when such connections are provided, bending action induces shears in the connecting beams. So because of these loads, connecting beams may undergo a bending, and bending will be such that it will be sagging on one side and hogging on other side. That is, sagging where the load is applied and hogging where the load is being transferred, or you can say windward side and a leeward side. So because of this sagging and hogging, differential bending, there will be a stresses which are occurring in the connecting beam. Not only these connecting beams will experience stresses, but also bending moments in this manner. So this is one of the beam representing a bending, the stresses which are occurred in a beam as well as a bending moment relations. So apart from this, these stresses are transferred to the shear walls, and those shear walls will be carrying normal shear stresses as well as bending moments. So these are the types of shear walls which are available in the construction procedure. Apart from this, we may take certain combinations of a shear wall, like shear wall with a rigid frames, shear walls in a dual system, and also we also have separate classification as a core walls or a shaft walls, or which are nothing but single planar shear walls which are interconnected but act as a single unit. Such classification may also be considered as a separate class as a core walls. So this completes introduction to shear walls. Thank you.